After theory, let's have some fun with numbers. So today I'll deal with few viva voce questions based on the numerical values in periodontology as well as implantology. This is my very favorite question, rule of 1, 2, 3 and 7. This is related to implantology. When we want to place an implant, first of all we have to evaluate the ridge width. Then if we evaluate the ridge width and it comes out to be 5 mm, then we can safely put an implant of 3 mm so that after placement of implant, at least 1 mm of buccal as well as lingual cortical plates are left intact. Rule of 2, the distance between implant and the natural tooth should be 2 mm. If we are going for multiple implants, the distance between 2 implants should be 3 mm. And rule of 7 means that vertical clearance, that is the occlusal clearance from the implant to the antagonist tooth, should be 7 mm to accommodate prosthesis. Width of attached gingiva, a very commonly asked viva question as well as MCQ in competitive exams. In maxillary central incisors, it ranges from 3.5 to 4.5 mm. In mandibular central incisors, 3.3 to 3.9 mm. Minimum is seen in premolars, and if we go by numbers, maxillary premolar shows 1.9 mm. This is the average width of attached gingiva based on certain studies. And mandibular premolar, 1.8 mm. That means minimum width is seen with the mandibular premolar area. Junction epithelium has a turnover rate of 1 to 6 days. And length of junctional epithelium is 0.25 to 1.3 mm. This length is 0.25 to 1.35 mm. Turnover rate of palate, tongue and cheek is 5 to 6 days. Outer epithelium of gingiva 10 to 12 days. Junctional epithelium 1 to 6 days. See, we have to see the keratinized epithelia will take more time to get replaced. From the basal cell to the journey to the stratum corneum will take around 10 to 12 days. And in junctional epithelium, it is 1 to 6 days. Thickness of basal lamina is 300 to 400 angstrom. It consists of lamina lucida and lamina densa. Lucida is light one. It is towards epithelium, and densa is the dark one. This is ultra microscopic feature. Lucida contains laminin and densa contains type 4 collagen. Internal basal lamina, lamina densa does not contain type 4 collagen. Gingival sulcus depth, this is very important concept to understand. Sulcus depth is measured from the gingival margin to the coronal most end of junctional epithelium, because junctional epithelium is a histological feature. So till we feel the resistance with the probe, that is we consider as the sulcus depth. In absolutely normal or pristine gingiva, when there is no inflammation, which is a very rare finding in human beings because we all are not gnotobiotic, we are not germ-free animals. So stage 1 gingivitis will always be there. Subclinical gingivitis is always there. In the people who are continuously maintain excellent oral hygiene, they will have 0 or near 0 gingival sulcus depth. It is mostly seen in the younger individuals. In clinically normal or healthy gingiva, it is 2 to 3 mm, because when we place the probe, it goes almost till the mid of the junctional epithelium. It doesn't stop at the coronal end of the junctional epithelium. But histologically, sulcus depth will be evaluated from the gingival margin to the coronal most end of the junctional epithelium. That is why histological depth is different from the clinical depth. It has average of 1.8 mm and it ranges from 0 to 6 mm. A very important question, type of cemento-enamel junctions. Normally we have 3 which have been quoted in the literature. In first, which is the most common, in 60% of the cases we see when the cementum overlaps enamel. When there is butt end, end-to-end joining, that is 30%, edge-to-edge joint when cementum and enamel meet at edge-to-edge. And when there is a gap, it is 10%. So here we can have sensitivity because there is no cementum on the root surface. So there is a gap junction. Recently, in 1 or 2% cases, they have reported a fourth type of CJ, but which is a very uncommon finding, where the enamel is overlapping the cementum, and that we call it as cervico-enamel projections that we will be discussing in the later videos. Width of periodontal ligament space 0.15 to 0.4 mm, and it's a hourglass shape and having the minimum width at the fulcrum. Bacterial count in 1 gram of the plaque. Guys, you have to see 1 gram. 1 gram contains 2 into 10 raised to power 11 microbes. Wet weight. This is the wet weight. And if they ask 1 milligram, then 2 into 10 raised to power 8 microbes. Radius of action. This is a very important point clinically. Radius of action is the range of effectiveness within which the bacterial plaque can induce the loss of bone. It ranges from 1.5 to 2.5 mm. This means if the bone is lesser than 1.5 mm thick, then what will happen? The total loss of bone will occur and there will be horizontal bone loss. And if it is wider than 2.5 mm, angular defects will occur as the narrow spaces will be destroyed completely and wider spaces will see angular defects. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe. And if you have any doubt, put it in comment box.